guys, and welcome to Classic Rock and Country Music Facts and Trivia. Appreciate you being here. Before we get started, I ask you to please subscribe. Thank you very much. Today's video is part 2 of yesterday's part 1. It's on the wild and crazy stories from the wild and crazy life of the possum George Jones. And believe me, these are some crazy stories, some funny stories. Let's get on into it. D-Doodle and the Old Man. By the late 70s, George's cocaine and alcohol addiction was so severe that 2 separate personalities started to emerge. One was named D-Doodle and had a duck-type voice. The other was of an old man. Personalities would berate each other, and Jones attack his greatest insecurities and reflect his self-hatred. Personalities are out of his control, making it hard for him to drive and even taking over during concerts, despite his efforts to get it stopped. This horrified him. To make matters worse, he had to live in his car for some time because of his perpetual debt. Peanut Montgomery got so concerned at George's clearly deteriorating mental and physical state that he managed to gain custody of him in court and send him to a drug and alcohol treatment ward. But as soon as he came out, he celebrated his recovery by getting drunk and snorting cocaine. It's snowing in the back room. Nearing the late 70s, George's addictions were so bad that he was in a state of perpetual confusion and misheard things quite a bit. Not to mention that he had an overactive imagination. It was so bad that one day George ran out of his friend's barber shop, poured a bag of cocaine he had in his pants leg onto the back room floor. Why did he do this, you might ask? Well, he thought the person Jimmy, his former handler and barber, had introduced him to was an FBI agent. George misheard the introduction. The gentleman was actually an iris worker. Jimmy's wife had vacuumed up the spilled coke, and everyone miraculously managed to avoid charges. I'm back. By the beginning of 1980, George Jones had not had a #1 song in 6 years. He had also filed for bankruptcy and spent some time living in his car, but as George liked to say, a 4-decade career is salvaged by a 4-minute song. His appearance at the Opry after the success of He Stopped Loving Her Today, a well-meaning Barbara Mandrell went into the audience to give Jones the mic to sing his part in the song, I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool. However, George was so far gone in a state of inebriation, courtesy of some former Nashville drinking buddies, he just was not able to sing his lines. In his acceptance speech for Male Vocalist of the Year, he thanked Johnny Wright and Kitty Wells because they were the first people he was able to see when he was on stage. George lived a rough and tumble life, but was able to change his ways thanks to a strong support system. The stories I shared about George Jones is to drive a very important point home. At the height of his career, he found himself lonely, stoned, and out of control. Success does not guarantee happiness, but according to George, you do start feeling more confident when you take better care of yourself. I know I said belly laughs, and I laughed at several of them. It's just funny. It's who he was and what it was, and then he pulled himself out of it. I look back at my life, and there's some things in there that I laugh at. Other things I cringe, but there's some funny times. Anyway, that's all I have for you. And if anybody ever tells you that a country music artist can't party like a rock star, you tell them, look up old George Jones. Please don't forget to subscribe and have a great day. God bless you. I'll be praying for you.